This is lesson 1.68, multiplying proper fractions. In this lesson, you're going to be learning about a new concept called cross-canceling. Oops, sorry, just a second. With cross-canceling, it is very similar to reducing fractions, but what you're doing is reducing the numerator and denominator of two different fractions. Let's look at problem number 1, and also, well, here, before we start that, let's look at the steps for multiplying fractions. First step is converting any mixed numbers into improper fractions. This step should look very familiar because we did it with all addition problems and all subtraction problems. But our second step is cross-canceling, or what I like to just cross-reducing. It means the same thing, but it's often called, or what it's actually called is cross-canceling. Notice that our step 2 is different from addition and subtraction. In addition and subtraction, you had to find common denominators. You will not do that when you're multiplying fractions, but you can what I call cross-canceling. So let's look at the numerators and denominators of the fractions that we see here in problem number 1. In problem number 1, you see the numerators are 2 and 3, and the denominators are 3 and 4. When you cross-cancel, you are looking at the numerators and denominators that are opposite of one another. Now I'm going to erase this because that's a lot of lines here. So let's look at the 2 and the 4. If 2 was a fraction over the 4, just like this, with this numerator and this denominator, then we would find that the greatest common factor of 2 and 4 is 2. And we could reduce this. So the greatest common factor of 2 is 1 and 2. The factors of 4 are 1 and 4, and 2 and 2. So the greatest common factor is 2. That means it reduces to 1/2. Well, we can do the same thing with opposite numerators and denominators. We can reduce them. So if we divide by the greatest common factor, you'll find that this reduces to 1/2, just like if it was its own fraction. Look at the other pair of numerator and denominator, the 3 and the 3. This numerator and this denominator. If it was its own fraction of 3 over 3, what does 3 over 3 equal? 1, right? So when you have your 3 over 3, they actually just can't, or you cross them off and make them 1s. So that's cross-canceling. It's just like reducing, but reducing with the opposite numerator and denominator. So we've completed the first 2 steps. The third step is just multiplying across. Now before we've added across just the numerators or subtracted just the numerators, but in multiplication you are going to do both the numerators and the denominators. So we multiply 1 times 1 is 1 over 1 times 2 is 2. If what you get as a result from your products is an improper fraction, then you would have to change it to a mixed number. Is 1/2 an improper fraction? No, it's proper. So we're done with step 4. We don't need to. And finally, reduce. Well, 1/2 is reduced as far as it can go. What's really nice is if you do cross-cancel, it's reducing with the greatest common factor, you probably will not have to reduce. It will already be in its lowest form, more than likely, but still check. I cleaned that up so we have some more room to look at problem number 2. Alright, in problem number 2, do we have any mixed numbers? 1/5 is a proper fraction and 1/2 is a proper fraction. This whole page is going to be multiplying proper times proper, so we get to skip step 1 in all of these. Then we need to check to see if we can cross-cancel anything. Well, if I look at these 2 numbers here, I have a 1 and a 2. If we reduce those, that would be 1 over 2. It can't reduce any further because the only the only factors of 1 are 1 times 1, and the only factors of 2 are 1 times 2, and that's it. So that means the greatest common factor is 1. So it stays 1/2. So you can't cross cancel with the 1 and the 2. Sorry. There we go. How about the 1 and the 5? Can you cross cancel there? Well, if you had the fraction 1/5, again, the only factors of 1 are 1 and 1, and the only factors of 5 are 1 and 5. That means the greatest common factor is 1, and therefore 1/5 can't reduce either. So you won't always be able to cross cancel, but if you can, do that. Let's see. So we're done with step 2. Step 3, multiply across. So we multiply across our numerators. 1 times 1 is 1. 5 times 2 is 10. 1 over 10 is a proper fraction because the top number is smaller than the bottom, so we don't need to change it to a mixed number. And 1/10 is reduced all the way, so we don't need to reduce. I'll do one more with you, and then you can do the rest on your own. Let's see. Oops, I didn't mean to do all that. And it won't let me put it back. Sorry about that. Okay, let's look at problem number 3 then. Problem number 3. We have a 2 and a 5. The factors of 2 are just 1 and 2. The factors of 5 are 1 and 5, and that's it. The greatest common factor is 1. That means 2 over 5 does not reduce any, so we're not going to cross cancel with those two. Then we look at our other two numerators and denominators. We have 3 and 3. Well, if we had a 3 over 3, that reduces to 1. So that means 3 over 3 becomes 1 over 1. And then you would have to multiply across. 2 times 1 is 2. 1 times 5 is 5. And 2/5 is reduced all the way. So we're done. Alright, good luck with these. Ask your instructor if you need some more help.